Welcome to the spoken tutorial on the introduction to macronutrients. In this tutorial, we will learn about proteins, fats, carbohydrates. Macronutrients or macros are important nutrients. They include proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Let's learn more about each of these macros, starting with proteins. The basic building blocks of protein are amino acids. When our body needs to make proteins, it joins amino acids together. This forms peptides. Peptides join together to form polypeptides. Polypeptides join together to form more complicated proteins. For example, they can form hair or muscle tissue. When we eat proteins, this process reverses. During digestion, we break down complex proteins. This forms small peptides and amino acids. Then we can use these amino acids to make new proteins as explained previously. Let's discuss some details of protein digestion. Protein digestion starts in the stomach with hydrochloric acid and pepsin. They begin breaking down proteins into polypeptides and single amino acids. These polypeptides and amino acids travel to the small intestine. There, polypeptides are further broken down by pancreatic enzymes. Amino acids and short peptides then cross the intestinal wall. They enter the bloodstream and then enter the cells. There they are used to synthesize new proteins. Some ingested amino acids and peptides are also delivered to the liver. There they are processed and distributed to other body cells. We constantly break down proteins and make new proteins. We cannot store protein. So we need to get enough protein from various food sources daily. Functions and daily requirements of protein are discussed in another tutorial. Now let's move on to fats. The basic building blocks of fat are fatty acids. Fats are made up of carbon and hydrogen joined together in long chains. These long chains are called hydrocarbons. The structure of the fat will affect how it behaves in our bodies. The level of saturation affects the structure of a fat. Saturation refers to the amount of hydrogen bonded to a hydrocarbon chain. The more hydrogens bonded, the more saturated the fat is. Saturated fats are found in coconut, milk, milk products, meat, etc. In such fats, hydrogens fill up all the available spots on the chain. However, if only some spots are filled with hydrogen, the fat is unsaturated. There are monounsaturated fats which have only one unsaturated carbon pair. More than 50% of the fat in peanuts is monounsaturated. About 60 to 80% of the fat in olives is monounsaturated. There are polyunsaturated fats which have multiple unsaturated carbon pairs. They are found in fish, walnuts, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, etc. To digest fat, the body breaks down fats into fatty acids and glycerol. This breakdown occurs mainly in the small intestine. Short and medium chain fatty acids are released into the blood directly. Long chain fatty acids are repackaged into particles called chylomicrons. Chylomicrons enter the lymphatic system and then into the bloodstream. They are used for energy or converted into body fat for storage. Most dietary fat sources are a combination of saturated and unsaturated fats. This is good because we must eat a mix of fat types to be healthy. This balance comes naturally by eating a variety of whole, less processed foods. This includes nuts and seeds, dairy, eggs, fatty fish, meats, coconut, etc. You may notice that some of these foods are rich in saturated fats. Some of them even have cholesterol. This isn't a bad thing. We need cholesterol to live. A diet should include a variety of fats. This includes saturated, monounsaturated, omega-6 and omega-3 fats. Some fats should be minimized or eliminated from the diet. Trans fats from processed foods increase the risk of many diseases. Eating too much omega-6 and too less omega-3 fatty acids is harmful. The ideal ratio is 1:1. Reusing polyunsaturated fats for deep frying can cause many diseases. More details about fats are discussed in another tutorial in the same series. Lastly, let's talk about carbohydrates. The basic building block of carbohydrates is the monosaccharide. Monosaccharides like glucose and fructose have one ring in their structure. Disaccharides like sucrose and lactose have two monosaccharides joined together. Polysaccharides have many monosaccharides joined together. They are also called complex carbohydrates. Examples are glycogen, starches, and many types of soluble and insoluble fibers. They are found in beans, grains, foxtail millet, finger millet, vegetables, etc. We are always building up and breaking down carbohydrates. Simple starches and sugars break down into monosaccharides during digestion. For example, sucrose is broken down into glucose and fructose for absorption. Other carbohydrates like cellulose can't be broken down by the human body. Simple sugars can be joined together in the body. For example, glucose can become glycogen in our liver and muscles. Carbohydrates can also form other compounds in our bodies. The process of carbohydrate digestion begins the moment we put it in our mouth. There are enzymes in our saliva called amylases. They begin breaking down complex carbohydrates into smaller carbohydrate chains. Then the carbohydrates pass through the stomach to the small intestine. The pancreas secretes amylases. They break the smaller carbohydrate chains into disaccharides. These disaccharides are broken down into monosaccharides. For example, sucrose is broken down into glucose and fructose. Then they pass through intestinal cells into blood vessels. Then they are taken to the liver before they enter general circulation. The liver takes what it needs for energy transfer and glycogen storage. Then it sends the rest out as glucose into the blood. Cells take glucose from the blood with the help of insulin. Inside the cells, glucose is converted into energy. Muscle contraction also brings glucose into cells, even without insulin. So, glucose uptake is usually better after exercise. This is why exercise helps keep us metabolically healthy. The body always tries to keep blood glucose levels stable. If blood sugar drops too low, the body will need a new glucose supply. Glucose can be made from carbohydrates in the food we eat. It can also be made by breaking down stored glycogen in the liver. This will stabilize blood glucose levels and provide immediate energy. If blood sugar goes too high, the liver and muscles will take up what they can. Sometimes the blood sugar is still too high after liver and muscle storage. Then the extra glucose is converted into body fat. In terms of quality, not all carbohydrates were created equal. Complex carbohydrates from whole foods keep us feeling full longer. They are naturally combined with other things in whole foods. Whole foods have micronutrients, phytonutrients, fiber, water, protein, and fats. Therefore, whole foods release energy and glucose gradually in the body. They keep our blood sugar and insulin levels stable. The fiber in whole foods feeds our friendly gut bacteria. It also lowers cholesterol absorption and helps bowel movement. It is best to eat complex carbohydrates from whole foods. Simple, highly processed carbohydrates like biscuits and chips digest quickly. However, they tend to leave us unsatiated. They are not rich in nutrients. They have high amounts of sodium and industrial chemicals. They also have trans fats and preservatives. They tend to stimulate our appetite and leave us wanting more. They can cause fluctuations in our blood sugar and insulin levels. That means we can finish a whole packet of chips and still crave more. Even then, half an hour later, we are hungry. More information on junk food is available in other tutorials. Please visit our website for more details. This brings us to the end of this tutorial. Thank you for joining.